Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Joy Taylor. On today's show, the Chiefs stunned the Pats on Thursday night. Is it safe to call Tom Brady and company overrated? Plus, reaction to the NFL standing behind Michael Bennett after his run-in with the police. And Skip and Shannon make their NFL playoff predictions. Skip, Shannon, let's get to it. Let's get it started with the big upset last night. The Patriots unveiled their 5th championship banner before the game, but the celebration was short-lived as they stumbled to a 42-27 loss to the Chiefs. Alex Smith threw for 368 yards and 4 touchdowns, and rookie Kareem Hunt fumbled on his very first carry, but he bounced back with 3 touchdowns and set an NFL record with 246 yards from scrimmage in an NFL debut. 40-year-old Tom Brady struggled in the loss, and for the first time ever, a Brady-led Patriots team lost at home when leading going into the 4th quarter. Let's take a listen to Belichick and Brady after the game.
I just think we need to, have more urgency and, go out there and perform a lot better. And that, is a winning attitude and a championship attitude that you need to bring every day. And, we had it handed to us on our own field. And, it's a terrible feeling. And, there's only people that can do something about it in that locker room. And we got to dig a lot deeper than we did tonight because we didn't dig very deep tonight.
Bill, on the 2 big plays given up for touchdowns, what did you see from the sideline that contributed to those?
Bad defense, bad coaching, bad playing, bad football.
I would be terrified to ask that man a question after a loss. Shannon, other than your wretched jinx, what happened?
It is a wretched jinx.
First of all,
that was the smartest
Alex
thing that ever.
Smith needs that whole monitor by himself.
Oh, he does?
Oh, he clearly.
So now you're back on the Chiefs bandwagon. You can switch your pick today. I don't care. You can switch.
Skip.
You just jumped on those Chiefs about mid-year last year.
Can I talk about Alex Smith? Check down Alex turned into touchdown Alex.
Touchdown.
Who was the
downfield?
Who was the best quarterback in New England last night, Skip?
Alex Smith. No, not even close. Not even close. Took the game over. Took the night over.
My glasses, I ain't bring my glasses, George. Put a little light on here. Ooh, this is Alex Smith, 28 of 35, 368, 4 touchdowns, 148.6. Tom Brady, 36 attempts, 16 completions. A 70 quarterback rating on a scale of what? Oh, scale. Are we still on that scale of 1 to, what does this scale go to, Skip?
Yeah. We know this. So what? What's your conclusion?
Here's the thing, Skip. Look, I don't think we should say the Chiefs are going to go to the Super Bowl. I don't think we should say the Patriots are going to miss the playoffs. They're somewhere in between. And Julian Edelman, it showed its ugly head last night, Skip, because Tom is not used, and it's going to take him some time to get game timing with these new weapons, the Cooks, the Phillip Dorsett. And Skip, I don't know if you noticed it, but I'm looking at Gronk. Gronk's not moving well.
Agreed. I don't know what happened, but something is wrong with Gronkowski.
Yeah, well, he had the back surgery, Skip, and the majority of his offseason was spent rehabbing, not training. He's trying to get back and be functional.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard when you...
I didn't see any quickness. I didn't see any separation. I didn't see any of the usual athletic ability, except maybe on the one that got overturned.
Right.
Couldn't keep his hand underneath the ball, though I thought it was really close. But go ahead.
Yeah, Skip. And so I'm looking at him, and then the timing just not there. Amendola, again, remember I told you, if you put him in the slot, the impact and collisions happen a lot quicker. And he's not in concussion protocol. Also, Skip, I don't know if you really want him back there with punts because, they lost Cyrus Jones, who's their punt returner. But let's give credit to the Kansas City Chiefs, Skip. 42 points on a Bill Belichick team, 537 total yards on a Bill Belichick coach
Those
team.
are the most ever on a Bill Belichick team. Both, 42 and 537.
But you know who's kicking themselves in the butt this morning? The Atlanta Falcons. You see what happens when you run the ball, Joey? It's amazing if you were to just run the football. And this kid, Kareem, Skip, I don't know who Kareem Hunt is. I had no idea.
I brought him up on the show yesterday, but you just zoned it out.
Well, he looked like Kareem.
Although I didn't think
you didn't think
he was going to be a rookie. I didn't see it in the preseason like that.
He looked like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar last night. I tell you what, Skip, you keep on telling me that Tom Brady's going to play until his mid-40s. But if that line doesn't protect him better than what they protected him last night, he won't make 40 years in 6 months.
Okay.
You saw that. I saw that. I think the Chiefs might be a little better than what we thought, and maybe we overvalued the Patriots because we heard all this talk, Skip. 16-0, they're going 19-0, they're going to go unchallenged. But injuries and attrition, it's a grind, and you should know this. You covered this game long enough. They're going to get everybody's best shot. Andy Reid is very difficult. That's why he very seldom loses coming out of the bye, because he's always going to give you a wrinkle. I mean, you think they're running the option. Alex Smith was running the option.
It was actually like a college triple option with Travis Kelce coming in motion and then cutting up the gut, and taking shovel pass.
They start the option one way, and then here we shovel pass it to Travis Kelce coming up underneath.
Yep.
They played really well. The defense played well.
They did.
But I thought Mitchell, the cornerback, I thought he was going to give like 7 touchdowns because he had like 4 penalties. But I don't want to talk about what New England didn't do. I want to talk about what Kansas City did do. They played exceptionally well last night, Skip, and I think we can agree to that. Minus that turnover, that might be as good as they could possibly play. But if they can play pretty close to that, I'm not saying they're going to play like that every week. Yep. But if they play somewhat close to that, Skip, they're going to be a tough out.
You finished?
Nope.
My turn. What I witnessed last night via TV was as shocking as just about anything I've ever witnessed in all my years of covering, as you point out, the National Football League, going back into the mid-1970s. It was almost as stunning as what I witnessed in the fourth quarter and overtime of the past Super Bowl against the Atlanta Falcons, because in the fourth quarter last night, the New England Patriots turned into the Super Bowl Falcons. It took me a while. I had to sleep on it to process what I had just seen because I couldn't believe what I just saw. But do you realize at home, New England got outscored in the fourth quarter 21-0? Do you realize that at home in Tom Brady's career, when he went into the fourth quarter with a lead, he was 105-0? And 0. Think about that. 105 times Tom Brady at home has led going into the fourth. Not one time had he lost that football game with that lead until that happened last night. And it wasn't even close. It was 21-0. They were ahead 27-21 going to the fourth. And I'm going to stick by this throughout the show today. There were points in the first quarter and in the second quarter I thought that New England was going to blow out Kansas City, and I'll bet you did too.
I did.
Wasn't it teetering on a blowout, teetering on a blowout? And then all of a sudden, it teetered the other way in the third quarter. But I still thought, because there were flashes and flourishes of Tom Brady in the third quarter, deep ball to Brandon Cooks that was spectacular, and you say, oh, there they are. Okay, they got it now. They're okay. 27-21, and the ceiling that doesn't cover that stadium fell in on the New England Patriots in the fourth quarter, because the yards in the fourth quarter were Kansas City 231 yards just in the fourth quarter to a grand total of 31 for New England. Is that not the flip side of the Super Bowl?
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Tom Brady in the fourth quarter went 3 out of 10 for 15 yards in the fourth quarter. Tom Brady, who I told you played the 2 greatest fourth quarters / overtimes against Seattle, then Atlanta in the 2 of the last 3 Super Bowls. Those are the 2 greatest I've ever seen. It's not even close, because he destroyed the Legion of Boom, and then he picked to pieces an Atlanta defense in the Super Bowl that everybody said, it's the hottest defense in pro football. And last night, the script flipped, because they had no chance in the fourth quarter, and they gave up gains of 78 and then 58 and then 25 and 21. Those are 4 of the plays that happened just in the fourth quarter against a Bill Belichick defense that had lost Dante Hightower, a star of the Super Bowl, a game changer in the Super Bowl. And he went out mid-third quarter, and all of a sudden I'm saying, wait a minute, who's that guy? Who's 55? Some guy named Cassius Marsh that they just traded for from Seattle, a backup pass rusher for the Seahawks. Suddenly he was like a focal point of every play. And he winds up on Kareem Hunt trying to chase him down the field. 78-yard touchdown. Wow, that was the game turner, wasn't it?
Yes.
And then he breaks off sort of like C.J. Anderson did in that snow game.
Got to the edge.
Got to the edge, and whammo, he's gone for, he didn't make it all the way, but 58 yards. These are happening only in the fourth quarter to Bill Belichick's defense at home.
Right.
Well, clearly, what also had happened, I didn't know Malcolm Mitchell. I thought he was just babying his knee through the preseason. He went on IR before the game. Okay, so you're down that guy. Then we both agree Gronk just didn't look like Gronk.
No, he didn't.
And then, wait a second, Amendola's in concussion protocol in place of Edelman, who's gone for the year. And all of a sudden you're saying, wait, there's no Dante Hightower. And they started looking, dare I say, mortal. And then the offensive line that had been really stellar against a stout Kansas City defense. Listen, that front four with those two guys coming off the edge. Mm-hmm. Hey, did Justin Houston not look like Justin Houston last night?
Oh, he's special.
He just took the game over, man, because he wasn't right last year coming off his ACL.
Right, Skip, and the thing is, he gets overshadowed because he was in the draft with Von Miller and J.J. Watt, and we know what those guys represent. But here's a guy that once got 22 sacks in a season.
He did.
That lets you know what he's capable of doing, Skip. I think the thing is, if you look at this, Julian Edelman had over 100 catches last year. 55 of those went for first downs. Skip, 24 of them went on third down. So now he's giving 24 times, he gave that offense and Brady three more cracks at you.
Yep.
Now what you're seeing, they're not converting those third downs.
Yep.
They're getting off the field, and Tom is not able to find a rhythm.
Yep.
This might be as bad as I've seen Tom play.
Yep.
He didn't play this, but we can get it like on the road in Kansas City in 2014. We know Kansas City is a very tough place to win at, Skip. But to get throttled like this at home in the manner in which they got it done, got taken apart. But I love what Andy Reid did, because Andy Reid knows that Coach Belichick, what they did with Kareem Hunt is that when they went, they like a rim route, Skip, they started him wide. And normally when you go wide outside the tackle, you're going to break it out. But he knows they're in 22 man. So what does he do? What does Hunt? He keeps it up the seam. Cover two, 22 man, safety split. Now you're one-on-one with Marsh and Benoit or whoever else were trying to catch him. I love what they did. And then they caught him in a stack formation, Tyreek Hill. It looks like, I couldn't really tell because nobody really threatened the flat. So I don't know if they were playing quarters or cover two. But for some reason, the corner didn't sink, safety wasn't over the top, and now Tyreek Hill hit him with the piece out. Skip. Hey. When have you known Coach Belichick to give up a 78-yard touchdown pass?
Somebody really screwed up on that one.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was Devin McCourty or Stephon Gilmore, but somebody was playing the wrong defense.
Yes.
Because Stephon Gilmore played very well, because a lot of times they were just leaving him on an island, just taking whoever came over to his side.
Right.
But all of a sudden, he just lets the fastest guy on the field, including Brandon Cooks, go.
Yes.
You just let him go?
Yeah.
And Alex Smith, to his credit, because you always call him check down Alex.
Check down.
I don't call him that, but he's dink and dunk Alex. But he threw the ball downfield better than I've ever seen him throw it. On time, with some velocity and obviously accuracy. And he hit both of them with deep balls right in their hands. So I give it up to him. I give it up to Andy Reid. But I'm still going to say that everything got off to a wrong start, because when does New England celebrate quite like they celebrated pregame last night? They wheel out all 5 Super Bowl trophies. The whole crowd is geared up to go anti-Roger Goodell.
Yes.
I'm good with that, because he did try. He tried to frame and railroad Tom Brady. You know it.
Skip, time out now. It's time to move on.
Oh,
you won the championship. I mean, but every stadium he goes to, he has it. Okay, let's just say for the sake of argument, you feel in New England that he's wronged you, that he tried to get rid of Tom Brady for whatever reason. He's done something so egregious to every stadium that he goes to, they boo. They go to the draft, they boo.
Well,
time out.
Good luck coming to Jerry World, because you just did the same thing to Ezekiel Elliott.
We don't need to go there, because he already knows what's going to happen. He can watch that in his New York apartment.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he already knows. He for the Giants anyway.
Yeah, well, that's probably true. But he goes, and they're all the clown nose T-shirts being
come on,
sold. The clown nose billboard up. But the whole stadium was in a celebratory mood before game one. Yeah. Dangerous. And then what happened on Tom Brady's first pass of the night? Could we see that? To a newcomer, Dwayne Allen, who was wide open up the sideline like he was uncovered. Do you remember this throw? If we could see it, please. Tom Brady, wait, he's wide open. Wait, he's wide open. Up. He missed him by 5 yards high and outside. When do you see Tom Brady miss that open of a receiver by that much?
No,
I mean, and
that's
when I saw that, it was like, who are you? What are you doing? And all night long, am I not right? He threw some nice balls. He always throws some nice balls. But wasn't he just off a little bit?
Yeah.
And then I look at the guys, I said Chris Hogan's going to be a big breakout star this year. They had no wavelength at all. They had no chemistry, no cohesion between the two of them. And how many times, 5 times he tried to throw it to Chris Hogan. He caught 1 ball for 8 yards. Yeah. How many times does he hurt somebody deep? Yeah.
But here's the thing, though, Skip. He's not a guy. He's the afterthought. He gets plays after the fact because everybody's concentrating on Edelman or some of these other guys, and next thing you know, he's slipping up the seam uncovered. He's not going out beating people one-on-one like you would think a number 1 or number 2 receiver would. But, Skip, you said you're shocked. Are you shocked that it happened or how it happened?
Well, the fourth quarter, you don't see that happen. Usually, Tom Brady, as Eric Mangini said yesterday, we're going to have Eric back on here in a little bit.
Right.
Tom always just figures it out. Mm-hmm. He's not doing it with raw athletic ability and the biggest arm in pro football. No, he's doing it with some talent and a whole lot of savvy and a whole lot of experience. And I just thought, oh, he'll get this. He'll figure it out. Mm-hmm. I mean, I love Kansas City's defense. I said yesterday, they are so good on defense. Unfortunately for them, they lost Eric Berry, and that's going to really, literally hurt them from this point forward. But still, last night, Eric Berry was a reason that Gronk looked out of sorts and out of sync.
He had the courage to try and disrupt Rob Gronkowski.
He did. He got physical with it.
That's what you got. Because because what you want have to have happen, Skip, is that you want Brady to look and say, well, Barry's too close, I can't go to him, and get off him immediately. Mm-hmm. Because if he sees any separation, he's going to put the ball up. Yep. And you're talking about 6'7", trying to go at a 6-foot safety or corner, trying to guard 6'7". So he made it rough for him. Just throw off his timing just enough. And that's what you got to give Eric Berry. Eric Berry is the only safety that's ever asked me how he should defend certain tight ends, or when they run certain routes, or what DB gave
and
you
I'm sure you told him if it was Shannon Sharpe, you got no shot.
No, right? I told him, I said, this is what I would do. I said, you're going to have to concede some things, but this is what you need to do. This is how you need to play it.
So you gave him the Gronk?
I didn't give him no Gronk. I just told him this is how he should do certain things, Skip.
So you picked the Patriots to jinx them, then you gave Eric Berry the inside scoop.
But that was in the offseason.
Okay.
But you know what I'm thinking, Joy? There's a guy up in old Lambeau. I'm going to sit back. He's sitting up there. He's like, oh, now you see what it's like when your defense gives up 40 points. And all of a sudden, you're not the greatest anymore. Because you remember he had that rush, Aaron Rodgers lost like 4 games when they gave up 42 to Tennessee. They gave up 38 at home to the Colts. They gave up another 40 to the Rams. It's like, Aaron Rodgers, you talk about he's an all-time great thrower. If Tom Brady is all-time great, like you said, he should have been able to hang up 48. You see what happened, Skip? I keep telling you.
He was on his way to 48 through 3 quarters. And then what happened? Remember what happened at Denver in the AFC Championship game going back 2 years ago? Remember that? When they couldn't protect Tom Brady and Von Miller had a cakewalk field day to the quarterback, right?
Yeah, everybody had a cakewalk. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, that started happening in the fourth quarter last night because Justin Houston just said, he's got to throw it every down. Yeah. I'm teeing off. D. Ford said, I'm coming the other way, and I'm just teeing off. I don't even care about the run anymore. And what happened? They knocked down Tom Brady 3 times. If that keeps happening, and it didn't happen for 3 quarters, but if it keeps on happening from this point forward, and by the way, they now have to go to New Orleans, which will definitely not be a cakewalk, right? Then it's going to be problems.
They better be able to run the ball. 35 attempts. 124 yards, 3.5. If a team gets Tom Brady in a situation like this, and they know he has to throw the football, and Tom Brady's not like he's going to pick up first down with his legs, Skip. So we know that. Skip.
He tried once, but he went across the line of scrimmage.
Skip, the man was in it. How you going to be
in the end zone?
How you going to be in the end zone, Joy, and then throw the pass? Skip, what's going on? Skip, what's wrong with your boy?
He hadn't done that since 2006.
All of a sudden,
Just trying to make a play. He doesn't have any receivers left.
All that avocado ice cream and them pajamas. Hey, Skip, you know what?
Wait, why are you calling him my boy when you picked him to get to the Super Bowl?
That's your boy, though.
Aha.
What?
Oh, so you off the bandwagon?
No.
I'm going to give you a chance right here, right now. Do you want to switch your pick?
No.
You want to switch it to the Chiefs?
Somewhere down the line.
somewhere down the line.
I'm not close to the waterfall.
not
I'm not
early.
close to going over the edge yet. I'm
Really?
everything is smooth.
You're leaning over the edge right now.
Nah, Skip, I'm gonna stay on. I'm gonna see if I can keep this jinx going for at least another 6 weeks.
So I'm going to remind you that the previous 3 Patriot teams that lost the opening game of the year went on to win the
2001,
Super Bowl.
2003, 2014.
Were they all at home?
to win the Super Bowl. It doesn't
Were
matter.
they coming up the Super Bowl? Because if I'm not mistaken, I think the 02 Bucks was the only team that lose opening day at home and win. But I don't love all these stats.
You wanna
Stats are for
switch your
losers.
pick?
Stats are for losers. Hold on. What happened to the greatest fourth quarter quarterback? How did he go 3 for 10 for 30 yards?
It's
Skip?
one game.
How? He can't have a bad game. You remember? Tom Brady never has a bad game.
You picked him.
What
Come on.
does that
You
gotta do
picked
with-
him.
what does
It
that-
has everything to do.
Oh, so now I'm
you
bad luck.
came around because you couldn't take it anymore. So you said, I'm on your side. I'm on your team. And now you're trying to ridicule the quarterback you
We need
picked.
to sage the set. or
So you want me off the
something.
bandwagon? That's what you're
I
trying to
want
tell
you
me.
off.
No.
We're joined by Eric Mangini.
And by the way, Shannon, I ran into Coach Mangini in the hall after yesterday's show, and he made the point to me that game 1 is the scariest game for an NFL coach because you really have no real idea what you have.
Yeah, we didn't talk a lot about that yesterday, but you think you have one thing in terms of the way that your team is compiled, and you've practiced a bunch of new defenses. You're going to put those in and see how they work. I remember one year in New England, we practiced a bear defense probably 200 times in training camp. Ran it in the first game, it got gashed, and we threw it out. We didn't run it again till the next year, but that's what happens. And it's the same thing with whoever you're playing. They've practiced a bunch of things. There's unscouted players. As much as Kareem Hunt, you may know him, you've looked at his college tape, you don't know how he's going to fit into that group. And if you look at some of the confusion that New England had on defense, there's a lot of guys working together for the first time. And there's a lot of things that even though you've practiced, you haven't seen it with that type of pressure in those situations. So now they'll learn, they'll self-assess, they will work, it will not be fun, and they'll come back and they'll be better the next week. And I'll just remind you, the year that we let go of Lawyer Malloy, we lost 30-0 and won the Super Bowl.
31, wasn't it?
Was it 30? Was it 30? Whatever it
Oh,
was. It was a lot to very little, and then we won the Super Bowl. So it's not the end of the world.
The thing that, Coach, you know this, really good offenses, they stay on the field on third down. Really good defenses, they get off the field and they don't give up big plays. And the Patriots, when have you ever known them to give up a 78-yard touchdown pass or a 70-plus yard touchdown pass to a running back? Now, Kareem Hunt, this dude has like wide receiver hands. I mean, throw the ball 30 yards down the field to a running back against 22-man, cover 2 safety split.
But who knew?
Who knew?
And that's the thing about the opening day. Because, well, this is what we've seen them last year. This is what they did last year. This is what they did the preseason. They didn't plan for the option. They didn't plan for the option shovel pass back inside. There are a lot of things. And Andy Reid, if you look at his track record, he's always great out of the buys because they come in with something that you haven't seen. Now he's had a whole season to prepare for this game. You knew they were going to come out ready to play. Maybe Kansas City is a little better than we thought. I'm not really ready to write off New England just yet because once he gets his rhythm with these guys, he's throwing to a lot of guys that he's not used to throwing to in the positions that they're in. Julian Edelman position, they're going to miss him more than, Coach, I really think we thought.
Although, in fairness, Danny Amendola did a really good job while he was out there. How many catches?
He had 100 yards.
He had 7 catches.
Yeah, I mean, last year he had
yards.
23 total catches. He already had 7 and 100 yards, so he was filling in.
But he's already injured, though.
He's already injured. Now,
Malcolm Mitchell.
who's the next piece that's going to go in?
Right.
And how are they going to use some of those backs? They've got a lot of backs with a lot of versatility, but they've got to learn.
They got to be able to run the ball.
So, did you were the one on the desk yesterday who you weren't bullish on New England. You said, wait, because you challenged me when I said they look loaded to me, and you said Pittsburgh looks loaded at the skill positions. So do you think we overrated them?
I think anytime you come out and talk about a team going undefeated, it's overrated. It's unrealistic expectations. It's unfair to whoever that team is. And even when you look at the pieces they add, you don't know how Brandon Cooks is going to fit into that offense. Even though he looked good in New Orleans. That was a pretty good quarterback in New Orleans, too.
Yeah.
You don't know how he's going to fit into the New England system. A guy like Stephon Gilmore, he comes out. There was obviously communication problems in the secondary on the long pass.
Yep.
So what he ran in Buffalo, what he's used to running, how well is he going to be able to run what New England runs? Rob Gronkowski comes back from injury. We all think, okay, he's wearing the same name.
No.
He's going to be the same guy, but you don't know that until he comes back from injury. Defensively, they lost a lot of parts. Now, they may have been role player, but it's hard to replace those reps, that experience, and all those new parts have to come together. So do I think that the world has overestimated them? No. Looking at what they brought in, it's easy to get excited coming off a Super Bowl, but you can't tell.
Let me ask Coach this, Skip. In that coverage, when they stacked the formation and Tyreek Hill went down the sideline, were they playing 2 or cover 4?
When they stack,
when Tyreek Hill, because I know if it was.
Oh, you're talking about when he went ran the out and up for the touchdown. It looked like it was quarters because it looked like the corner was going to come off on the out and he was expecting the safety or someone else to carry. It's hard on a lot of those views to get exactly what they're in, but based on him looking inside, he felt like the safety it was going to handle that, or some underneath part of the coverage was going to handle that, and he wasn't. And then look, when you have combo coverage down the field against guys that are fast, you better be right because the margin for error is so slim. And at that point, they weren't. And we need to give Bob Sutton a little bit of credit. Yeah. Bob was in New York with me, played against New England a lot of times. Those short yardage plays, he stacked the A-gaps. He wasn't going to let Tom run a quarterback sneak. They had to do something that was lower percentage. They stopped him. That's good defense.
Yes.
And you look what they did on Gronkowski and Cooks. 13 targets, 5 catches. That's pretty good defense.
Yep. So this is what I saw. There were 4 or 5 points in that game, first quarter, second quarter, even into the third quarter, when it was teetering on a New England blowout. So let's not just write them off because there were moments when the Patriots would just move the ball right down the field, like they took the opening drive. They went 9 plays, 73 yards, touchdown, and you say, here they go. And then Kansas City punts, and they go again. They go right down the field. And Gronkowski, I thought he got his hand underneath the ball in the end zone, but they said, no, New England's never going to get a break on any replay. We know that.
Y'all got the biggest break in the history of instant replay. You remember the talk rule?
Yeah, but that was before they were New England.
First of all, that was properly...
Stop it.
No, that was a really good call.
No, it
that
was not.
A smart, good call.
E-man.
A good decision.
E-man. A good Catholic man like yourself go sit up here and say that on television.
No, it happened on my birthday, and it was the gift that keeps on giving. But I thought it was a good call.
So I wasn't sure about this call because I thought Gronk got his hand on the ball, but whatever. So that gets
nullified.
And then they wind up, as you said, they had 2 crucial 4th downs in this game that could have changed the game. One time they had to stop before they wanted to go no huddle and just run to the line of scrimmage, and the ref said, no, we got to measure this, and it was clearly, a half yard short.
Right.
And I'm with you about stacking the gaps, but Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback sneaker I have ever seen, and I thought he might have tried to go once because it wasn't much, and they tried to go I formation, Gillislee, and he's not as big a load as LeGarrette is. You said yesterday they're going to miss the load, but Gillislee, especially around the goal line, nobody has a better nose for the goal line. Just on slither, he can just sort of slither through the holes. But if you're going to just line up and go against that defense, it is stout, man. It is hard to move those guys out, especially, God bless Eric Berry. I hope he's okay, but it didn't look very good.
Right.
But he is, you want to talk about nose for the hole? He's just going to he's going to anticipate where Gillislee's going to go, and he's just going to meet him head on in the hole, and Gillislee's not going to win that battle, and he didn't.
Yeah, and in fairness to New England, they have 3 goal line plays where they run the ball in on the goal line with Gillislee to give him the ball back in those short yardage plays. It's a pretty similar offensive philosophy. It's pretty similar formations. So, he did some really good things in the goal line. They weren't able to execute like they wanted to on short yardage. Again, these things are going to get fixed. They're going to get addressed. It's not going to be a fun time over this long week to come. and to read too much in the first game. After this weekend, there's going to be a lot of teams anointed as, oh, they're definitely going to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And as we know, we'll be 5 weeks in this season. Someone will be 5-0. Another team will be 1-4.
Yep.
And at the end of the year, it'll be totally flipped.
Okay, so New England I thought was going to be just stacked at receiver, and now they're not stacked at receiver because Gronkowski didn't look like he was quite himself yet. Maybe he'll ease into that with game reps.
Right.
But Danny Amendola, now in the concussion protocol, talking about missing Julian Edelman. The other key moment in this game was a 3rd and 5 throw to Danny Amendola mid-third quarter. And at that point, Kansas City had taken the lead, 21-17. Here it is, over the middle. And Justin Houston zone blitz. He drops back into coverage. And
Tom
Brady
didn't see him.
he
Tom
didn't
never
see
saw him.
Well, Amendola saw him because he didn't want any part of this football, it looked like to me.
Skip, if I'm not mistaken, this is a man, the guy's trailing him, so he can't pull up. He sees Houston, but I don't think Tom saw Justin Houston.
Well, they're dropping 8 on that play. And there were times during the game, you saw it in the red zone too, where Tom had all day. I mean, more time than anybody should have, but the ball was incomplete. Right. They dropped 8. This is another situation where they drop 8. And it's one of those things, when you play New England, you want to play some tight man-to-man coverage to see whether he can throw into those tight windows. And then you've got to flood that underneath zone, the area between the tackles, because that's where most of those short catch-and-run plays happen. And I thought Bob did a good job there. He was mixing in man, drop 8, flood those zones, and look for the
Okay, but the difference between Edelman and Amendola, as much respect as I have for Danny Amendola, because he's made a lot of big catches for them, but that's a guts catch.
Yeah.
That's a give up your body catch. That's not Danny Amendola. I believe Julian would have made that catch and taken the shot.
That's a quarterback go to the guy that's coming in behind me throw. Because I see that guy there, but I know I got a trailer on me, but I got to keep running because that's telling me man. But I see that headache in Justin Houston over there, and I'm praying, John, don't throw me this ball.
Yeah, and I don't know if that contributed to the concussion protocol. It might have.
But again, it's the first game of the season. You're looking at this, and Justin Houston, how many sacks did he have last year?
Well, we had like 4 against the Broncos his first game back.
Well, look, you think he's going to be going forward
yes.
So in that situation where he's actually dropping back into a short zone, looking for a shallow crosser, that's unscouted. Those things are unscouted.
Von Miller did the same thing to him in the championship game. Remember, Von picked him up in the championship game. He thought Von was going to drop, and Von went to the hook area and picked him.
Yeah, and you got to be able to mix in enough of that where I'm going to take, one of the best rushers and drop him in, and a zone that you think is going to be there isn't going to be there, and that's a key with Tom Brady. Now, the book slowly gets written through the course of the season, and the scouting report gets written during the course of the season, and there's not going to be a lot of times as we move forward where they're fooled by new things.
So, how stunned are you that Tom Brady took a 27-21 lead into the fourth quarter? He had never lost a game in which he led at home going to the fourth quarter in his entire career. They got outscored 21-0 in the fourth quarter. The yards were 231 for the Chiefs to 31 for Brady's offense, and he went 3 of 10 for 15 yards. It's the flip of what happened in the Super Bowl, obviously, with the Falcons.
Was I stunned by that? No, it's you don't want to be behind against Kansas City with that pass rush that they had. And I thought New England, during the course of the game, actually did a really good job with protection.
They did until the fourth quarter.
Yeah, considering and then things flipped when they had that lead. Those guys could really be off.
You're not running.
You couldn't. Yeah, the threat of the run wasn't as significant as it was before. They weren't able to keep as many guys in to chip those ends. So now it becomes one-on-one situations with your edge guys. And
Marcus Cannon versus Justin Houston.
Yeah, you saw how disruptive those guys can be. And during the course of the game, New England accounted for them, but now you're behind. You've got to get those guys out. And it's a delicate balance of how much do I want to mix in the run, the screens, those types of plays to slow them down versus we've got to get some chunks here to get back in this game.
Wow, who'd have thought you get a lead and you run the ball, Coach? You noticed that with Kansas City, they only had a 14-point lead and they started running the ball with Kareem Hunt.
I thought they were throwing it all over the lot. I mean,
they threw to get the lead, and then that's what the Cowboys.
Alex Smith in the fourth quarter goes 7 of 9 for 138. That's pretty good.
Well, I mean, he got 2 chunk plays.
Oh. Okay.
But then he's like, okay, Kareem, take it around the left edge for like 55.
Yeah, and look, when you run the ball in the fourth quarter and it's as effective as Kansas City was running the ball, it's pretty easy to say, in fairness to Atlanta, and I know we don't want to get into this, they weren't running the ball very effectively in the second half of that game.
But let me ask you a question. If you're up 25, should you have the same amount of carries as the team is down by 25 in the second half?
Look, I like running the ball personally, but watching that game, Atlanta got to where they got to by following a very specific philosophy. And for them to change in the second half of the Super Bowl,
Sometimes
I can see why there was
improviser.
E-Man,
I'm not
I know
saying
you
you
don't.
don't have
E-Man,
to.
I know you don't like to question anybody, but come on now. There's no way you up 25. You should have 4 carries in the second half.
Would I have run the ball in that series? Yeah, knowing my personality, I probably would.
Yeah.
No mercy. Hey guys, it's Joy Taylor. Before the show moves along, I want to bring in a friend of the program to tell you about his exciting new project.
I'm James Andrew Miller, and I want to introduce you to a new podcast called Origins, as we relive indelible turning points that went down in cultural history and changed it, arguably, forever. We'll open Origins with a 5-episode cycle digging deep into Curb Your Enthusiasm. We'll hear from more than a dozen key players who retrace how Curb evolved from mere smash hit to a turning point in television. You can find the Origins chapter on Curb Your Enthusiasm when you search and subscribe to Origins with James Andrew Miller, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Now, back to the show. No mercy. Yesterday, the NFL said they have no plans to investigate Michael Bennett's role in an incident last month when he was detained by police in Las Vegas. This comes in response to a letter written by the Vegas Police Union asking the league to investigate the situation because they felt Bennett made false accusations of racial profiling against them. Bennett wrote a letter on Twitter earlier this week that he was physically harassed by the police and had a gun pointed at his head. Shannon, what's your take on the situation?
Skip, did you read the Las Vegas? Did you read the memo that they sent to the NFL? Skip, this is what I want. It says, while the NFL may condone Bennett's disrespect for our American flag and everything it symbolizes, we hope the league will not ignore Bennett's false accusation against our police officers. Skip, what the hell does the flag have to do with this? What Bennett is doing in the NFL, sitting while the national anthem is being played, why would they even bring this up?
Well, it's just one guy bringing it up, but go ahead. Steve Grammas, the president of the Las Vegas Police Protective Association.
Skip.
So he's expressing his personal view before he gets into his issue.
Hey, doesn't he speak for the police? Doesn't he? I mean, the union.
He's their protective association.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
He says everything that flag symbolizes. Okay. And what Michael Bennett and Colin Kaepernick says, what that flag supposedly symbolizes, we want those protections for everybody, not just a few. And then, Skip, guess what? He's like, involved in the shooting, our officers who are both minorities. Skip, why do we keep bringing that up? Now, you know, normally when something like this happens, they never mention the race, ethnicity of the officers involved. It might leak out somehow.
Well, usually pictures are posted.
Right, but I'm saying they normally keep that on the low.
Mm-hmm.
Why do they feel the need to let it be known that they are both minorities? You see what they're trying to do? They said there could possibly be no profiling of one minority to another, but that's not the issue. The profiler is unimportant in this matter. It's the profile-E, is that you are looking at him, and because he looks a certain way, or he or she looks a certain way, that are dressed a certain way, you become unreasonably suspicious of them. That's what profiling is. Not that it's, oh, he was a minority, he was a Hispanic, or he was an Asian. No, the police is an institution. It's symbolic, what you represent. What is the NFL what are they investigating? Okay, where's the misconduct? Was he fighting with police officers? Was he in the casino causing a ruckus? Was he? What is Roger Goodell supposed to investigate here, Skip? I'm like, and but you see, because of what have happened with Colin Kaepernick, they've allowed a lot of sponsors, they've allowed a lot of police departments to feel emboldened because of the backlash. And they're like, well, if we say this, they're going to have to do something, because they don't want, they don't want this uproar, they don't want this outcry. I can't even believe it. I mean, when I was reading it last night, I'm like, are you for real? And you put, while the NFL may condone Bennett's disrespect for our American flag, Skip, that's in the first paragraph.
The opening line.
Skip, I'm just trying to figure out, what does the flag have to do with why you want the NFL to investigate Michael Bennett? I'm just trying to see the correlation, Skip. I'm not a detective. And I got one more thing, Skip. I was talking to a couple of police officers in a couple of different locales. And they say, Shannon, with the body cam, she said, we can't leave the body cam on 24 hours because it's recording everything. So me and my partner having normal conversations, I start and get something to eat.
I got that, but you're going into what could be a pretty dangerous situation, right?
When you think there's an active shooter. So you're not in a situation right now where you're under duress.
You're supposed to.
Supposedly, the guy that had Michael on the ground, his didn't work, but the other one's dead. I don't know how that, but that's what supposedly or allegedly happened. I just don't get what the flag. They make it a point to bring that flag in because they know who Michael Bennett is and knows what he represents and what he stands against. And before I turn it over, Skip, two things can be true. They're not mutually exclusive. You can be against injustice, but you can be for cops. I'm for good cops. The bad ones, the hell with them.
Okay, I got you. So back to your very ironic point about the opening line of this blast. The white man who wrote it is taking a shot in his first words at the black players who are kneeling for the anthem. And then he's saying, but we don't profile. And it's like, what? Even I found this offensive.
Right.
I found it completely out of bounds. And I especially found it cart before horse because this man undercut whatever credibility he might gain over time because we left it yesterday with the police saying, we have 126 angles of security cameras in that casino in question.
Correct.
And it's going to take time to sift through all the angles to see exactly how it did play out.
Correct.
Because we have two dramatically different accounts of said incident. First from Michael Bennett, then from the spokesman, the under-deputy or whatever he is. Under-sheriff, I'm sorry. Under-sheriff for the Las Vegas Police Department.
Correct.
So Michael Bennett's account, I'm just going to paraphrase it and sum it up, is that everyone thought they heard gunshots and there was chaos and that he was among lots of people running and that it was mass chaos,
right.
That he was just part of everyone running, but that you could call it profiling,
right.
But they singled him out and chased him down and handcuffed him. And then he says the one officer in question stuck a gun to his head and said, don't move or I'll blow your head off, right? Okay, now the police version is that they had cleared the casino of, I guess they mean of everybody.
Right.
I guess that's where we're going with this.
Right.
And that as the team of policemen entered to look for the quote-unquote active shooter, there was no active shooter as it turned out.
Correct.
But as they entered the casino, they saw only one man, according to their account, Michael Bennett, what is he, 6'4", 274, crouched behind a gaming machine. That's their account. And that as soon as he made eye contact with the team of police, he took off running the other direction, went out the south exit.
Right.
And then as two officers gave chase, on foot, obviously, that he leaped over a retaining wall and ran into traffic.
Right.
I think it was on Las Vegas Boulevard, I forget, but a busy street.
Right.
Okay. If their account is true, if they can back that up and show us with video from the security cameras, okay, I get it. That would seem suspicious enough that you would want to chase that man just to question him and make sure, was he involved in this? Does he know anything about it? I get that. That's justifiable to me. But you got to show me first. You got to back it up and you got to prove it. And then I want to know, why wasn't the body camera turned on? And then I definitely want to know, because there are certain videos from cell phone cameras.
Right.
It appears something is being held to his head. Was a gun held to Michael Bennett's head? Is that what the officer said? Because this president of the Las Vegas Police Protective Association says both officers deny the allegations and feel horrible that they've been victimized.
Well,
really, they've been victimized.
I think the one that was on top, didn't he have his weapon out? Now, I mean, it's hard to see.
Shadowy.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not sure, but it looked like it to me. It sure looked like it. And obviously, Michael, I'm pretty sure was unarmed. Pretty sure. I never heard anything about any.
Now, if if video evidence comes back and it shows that these officers did have their weapons drawn, I need to know why wasn't a report filed.
That's a whole nother issue.
Because if you don't, so now you pull your weapon, you
Mm-hmm.
draw your weapon, and you don't file a report on that. You don't think that's something that you should have. And why didn't you got something like of this magnitude, Skip? But I think it goes to show that more times than not, this happens and no reports are filed. If Michael, let me ask you a question, Skip. Do you actually think this video comes out if Michael Bennett doesn't say anything?
Which video?
The TMZ one.
Oh, that's a good question, actually. I hadn't thought of that because I'm surprised it didn't come out immediately.
Exactly.
Right?
Because what happened is I believe that he said what he said, and TMZ's like, well, anybody, and somebody probably emailed TMZ, I got video, shoot your boy a couple of dollars, here's my account number, and boom, they got it up. Because this happened August 26th, the night of the fight.
I wonder if the owner of that video had already offered it up the day after that happened. I assume maybe he or she had. No?
TMZ would have already run it.
You would think so.
Exactly.
I would think so, because that's a big deal.
How soon after they got the video of Ray Rice did they run it? Immediately. As soon as they got it.
Well, that story was already out, though.
Yeah.
But they didn't have the video of we had speculation, but
we didn't even know that this happened until Michael Bennett said it.
Yeah, exactly. So they didn't write no report. Why wouldn't you write a report?
I don't know. Their explanation was that the supervisor of the team, whoever was the ranking officer, talked with Michael in the back of the police cruiser after they say they detained him for 10 minutes. He said it felt like an eternity, and that Michael was fine with everything except the gun to the head, and that he expressed that. Well, it seems like that's a big enough complaint that you would probably need to write that up.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. It's just, look, I just want, if we want cops and cops want the benefit of the doubt, I think as minorities, we want to be given the benefit of the doubt also.
Absolutely.
That's it. I mean, you can't expect for something, you can't ask for more than what you're willing to give.
No, and you also can't ask to interfere with their ability to do their job as they were trained to do it.
Right.
So if they had justifiable suspicion, then I'm fine with at least going to detain him. I'm fine with that. But how you do it is a whole nother issue.
Well, maybe he wanted to be in the light. Maybe he wanted to be in a situation where cameras could see. If you don't trust the
I don't know. That's a good question.
It's
I
just,
don't know.
I just want to know, what does the flag Michael Bennett sitting down?
Nothing. It's a gratuitous shot. It's like, I want to express myself before I get to my point. And then how can you can't ask Roger Goodell to come down on Michael Bennett before you've even shown any proof of what happened.
So he's defending his officers, saying that they didn't profile him. And he's profiling him before he gets through the first paragraph.
I'm saying that's the point. The irony is he profiled.
Whoever this guy is should have nothing to do with the investigation because he's already shown that his bias.
He undercut whatever credibility
he has. And he's put this out, as you said, before the investigation is over, which is what John Burris, Michael Bennett's attorney, said. It's ridiculous that you would even put this out without the investigation going through.
This is official, Skip.
Then it's official. He's speaking for the entire Metro Police Department in Las Vegas. And then also, in order for us to believe that there was no profiling, then we'd have to have reports of them handcuffing white guys and Hispanic guys. And
so if
we don't have a report about Michael Bennett. So how do we know that he was the only person that they detained?
I don't know. If you can show me security camera angles that he's the last person left in the casino and that he's hiding behind a gaming machine.
Oh, we'll see it.
Then I'd
There's
say,
every inch of that
I
casino
can see that.
is covered in cameras. There's no way they don't have the video. Also, there's no mention in here about why it's okay to put a gun to the head of somebody who's already handcuffed and
maybe Michael Bennett was George Clooney's character in Ocean's 11. You know how they slipped in and out and go unnoticed.
I don't know.
They need to stop with this.
Anyway, NFL spokesman Brian McCarthy said there's no allegation of a violation of the league's personal conduct policy. Therefore, there is no basis for an NFL investigation.
Investigate him for sitting down while the anthem is being played.
There you go.
No mercy. The race at the top of the NFC is wide open. Odds makers have Aaron Rodgers and the Packers as the NFC favorites. The Packers are followed by the Seahawks, Falcons, and Cowboys. Shannon?
I mean, I like, odds maker. I'm an odds maker. You play fantasy, Joey?
You know what? I think you're just odd, but that's okay.
I'm an odd maker.
You're just odd.
Who are your NFC playoff teams?
Giants in the East, Packers in the North, Falcons in the South, Seahawks in the West, and the wild cards will go to Bucks and Panthers.
Wait a second. I think you just left out, maybe, I know, you had an omission. I'll let you redo that.
Okay.
You left out America's team, I think.
Giants in the East, Packers in the North, Falcons in the South, Seahawks in the West. Wild cards again, drum roll, Panthers and Bucks.
Panthers and Bucks. So wait a second. So you're saying the Dallas Cowboys won't even make the playoffs? And you're going to stick by that? You're going to stand by that?
Giants in the East, Packers in the North, Falcons in the South, Seahawks in the West. Wild cards are, drum roll, please,
Wow.
Panthers and Bucks.
Panthers and Bucks. So that means that you have predicted the Dallas Cowboys will go what? Like
Can you read your...
7-9?
Don't worry about it. That's not what the question was. Can I get your picks, please, sir?
Yes. Before I state my picks, I must admit I have a slight bit of new bias, and I can't help myself. But I don't know if you saw the final edition of Hard Knocks. It was on Tuesday night. But the GM of the Bucks took a little shot at me, maybe because I took a little shot at the Bucks coaching staff after the second to last Hard Knocks last week, because I've been watching and I said, gee, as much as I love Jameis, you love Jameis,
Yep.
but I really love Jameis. And they are positioned to do what you're saying, to be a wild card team. I just don't know about the coaching staff. And I will throw the GM, Jason Licht, into that group because not impressive. A little high schoolish after a while. And I say, these guys are running the show. And I told you right here on this show, sitting in the seat, that I'm starting to think that the ceiling is a little lower for Jameis and company and all that new talent around him. Because of the coaching staff, and I'll throw Jason Licht into that. So in the final edition of Hard Knocks, and I did not see this, I just read about it, so I'm just going to read it to you. Jason Licht said this last Saturday, which was NFL Cutdown Day, and he was talking about how difficult it is. And he said, and I quote Jason Licht, the GM of the Tampa Bay Bucks you have just picked to be in the playoffs. Jason Licht says, I hate today. I would rather drive across country with Skip Bayless and no radio working and the heater stuck on and the windshield wipers stuck on and it's got the metal hitting the glass. He would rather do that, drive across country with me stuck like that in the car, than to have to cut his roster down.
Damn, Skip!
That's harsh, man. But I was harsh too, so turnabout is fair play.
That is not really good conditions. Is there a person worth doing that with on this earth?
Yeah, I met a few people.
Who?
Yeah.
I don't know them off the top of my head.
No, I can't think of anyone.
You know, Shannon would be happy with Shannon under that circumstance, right?
Yeah.
You could talk to yourself.
Well, I ain't driving across country to begin with. so-
Exactly. Those are rough conditions.
So I admit a slight bit of bias here, but maybe not. So.
But it's good that they're watching the show.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, Jason.
We do appreciate that, Jason. My picks, unlike your picks, and I'm going to start with the NFC East, I have, obviously, the Dallas Cowboys, the defending division champs.
Surprise.
Well, I mean, why would it be surprise? They ran away with the NFC East.
They didn't run away with it.
Well, they went 13-3. They won 11 straight games.
Okay.
Well, what's not to like about that?
And they went home just like the Giants did in the first round.
All right. Well, the Giants really went home because Odell went to South Beach.
Y'all didn't really go home because you were already home. They kicked you out your house.
So I agree with you. By default, I will let Aaron Rodgers have his division.
What you mean,
well, I
let?
just can't make a case for anybody. I kind of like the Lions. I don't really like the Vikings with Sam Bradford. I just can't do it.
Okay.
So I have to, by default, go Green Bay. And I tried to talk myself into a big bounce-back year for Arizona, who went 7-8-1 last year. They play the heck out of Seattle. Remember that 6-6 debacle or whatever it was? Remember the tie
And I think they beat them last. Didn't they beat them up?
Yeah, they have. They've had a pretty good recent track record. But I couldn't do it, so as much as I don't love the Seahawks, I'm still going to give them by default that division because I'm not sure about Carson Palmer and Larry Fitzgerald at this advanced age in each career. And then I wrestle with this because Atlanta is going to have some Super Bowl hangover, and that is by far the best division in the NFC side.
Right.
And I went back and forth with all those teams. You could make a case for any of those teams winning that division if Atlanta struggles and fails. But I finally said the defense was so young last year. It was just barely coming of age for the Super Bowl. So I can't say they're going to get old because they're not going to get old. Right. And he's got so many weapons, I can't pick against them. So I went Atlanta. That leaves very difficult choices for the wild cards. I do have enough respect for your New York Football Giants that I give them a wild card.
Okay.
And now it gets really tough. I told you, I think Adrian Peterson is going to have a shockingly good impact on the New Orleans Saints. I think the Saints are going to bounce back. And in part, I was convinced by Drew Brees when I looked into his eyes at this past Super Bowl when we had him on Undisputed in Houston. And you could just see this was it for him. And he was committed to not only personally take it up a level, but that they got to get back to who they used to be, which is running it as much as they pass it. And with Mark Ingram and Adrian Peterson and Kamara, if he's in the flow of this, and he might be, I like the Saints. I think New England's going to have a really hard time avoiding 0-2 when they go to New Orleans.
I agree.
Right?
I agree, yeah.
Okay? So I'm going to go New Orleans as my other wild card, just on a hunch, on a gut feeling, because you know and I know, every year somebody comes out of nowhere and you say, how did that happen?
Yep.
Well, I think that's going to happen. So guess who is not in my playoffs in the NFC? Jason Licht's Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Why would you do that, Skip?
Well, I don't like the coaching staff, but I love Jameis. But I do think there's huge pressure on him, building pressure to live up to Deshaun Jackson and you know all
Mike Evans and
the
O.J. Howard.
whole crew that they got, and T.J. Ward winds up on defense.
Yep.
But Doug Martin still has to serve out the rest of his suspension. He's got 3 more games, and I think that's going to hurt them as they get off. They got Chicago, which they should win, but then they go to Minnesota, and then they got your Giants, and then they got New England. So they might get off to a little bit of a rocky start and never quite recover in the toughest division in the NFC.
Well, you guys agree on the Packers, Falcons, and Seahawks.
Yeah.
We can agree on some things.
Cowboys, says Shannon Sharpe. I hope they're watching. I know Dez is. Miss the playoffs.
Okay.
Wow.
What you want me to do, Skip?
I just want you to eat it.
Just
I'll write them in.
Next up, the Patriots entered the season as big favorites to win the AFC, but that was before last night's home loss to the Chiefs. The Raiders and the Steelers have the next best odds behind New England. So, Shannon, who are your AFC playoff teams?
AFC, I got the Patriots in the East. I got the Steelers in the North. I got the Texans in the South. I really want to flip but I won't. I got the Broncos, and I got wild cards, Raiders and Chiefs.
Broncos.
Raiders and Chiefs. Oh, so you got 3 teams coming out of that, 1 AFC?
Yeah. 1 team's
West.
coming out of the South. I know everybody in the AFC East is feeling good about themselves because, the Patriots are vulnerable. They're going to beat the brakes off everybody else in that division. And
Well, they're going to lose 1 to Miami at least.
No.
Yep.
That game's not getting canceled.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Well, we'll
they
bet
will
then.
lose
We'll-
the game at Miami in December. And it's a night game. It's like a Monday, I think.
We'll put some dew on it.
Okay.
Put some dew on it.
Mm.
You don't. You're
gamble,
allergic.
but-
No, you're allergic
I
to dew.
can't. Yeah, you can't give me dew. I'm allergic to it.
I'm going to have dew stacked up. I mean, that whole wall going to be dew.
So, unfortunately, I do agree with your jinx pick of New England to win the division, just the way you picked New England to win the whole conference. And I'll buy Pittsburgh barely. And then it brings me to Houston. And I told you going into this season, I don't like them with Tom Savage at quarterback. And I don't understand why they are going. I guess it's Bill O'Brien. He's saying, I'm going to stick with the guy I love and know and the guy who knows our offense.
Right.
And DeAndre Hopkins said, I'm on Team Savage, which stunned me and slightly alienated me from DeAndre Hopkins because I thought it was the wrong thing to say. I love me some Deshaun Watson, and I told you he could be this year's Dak Prescott if they hand him the keys to this car. And it's a Lamborghini, man. It's waiting to fly because they are loaded everywhere but at quarterback.
Correct.
And last year they weren't loaded at quarterback, and they kind of muddled through, and then they got no chance when it matters.
Right.
Right? So I'm going to guess that they beat Jacksonville, but then they go to Cincinnati and go to New England. I'm going to guess that they stink it up so badly in those 2 places that that Deshaun Watson will start the 4th game of the year, which is the rival Titans in Houston. Big game in that division.
Yep.
Because I like the Titans. I respect the Titans. I'm a bigger Jameis fan than I am a Mariota fan, but in this case, I think Deshaun will start them on their run. And so I'm going to go Houston coming alive to win that division.
Okay.
And I already told you yesterday, I went way out. This is the most I've been out on the limb maybe in years, but I got the new Los Angeles Chargers playing in their rinky-dink high school stadium, winning the AFC West in a shocker because I love their defense and I like their offense. And that leads me to the wild cards, and I'm with you on the Raiders. I'm not with you on the Chiefs. I know what we saw last night, but I'm going to stand by my conviction. I think they're going to struggle this year. Again, what happened a year ago on opening day, it happened to be at Arrowhead. The Chargers, who were then the San Diego Chargers, led the Chiefs 27-10 in the fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. Boy, they could have been off to the races, but nope. Alex Smith bounced back, caught them, beat them in overtime, 33-27, and it launched Kansas City on a run where they went, 12-4 last year to win the division?
Yes.
Okay. And they led the NFL in takeaways, and I get all that. And we saw firepower everywhere last night. I still say Alex Smith will have some bad games. I still say I thought going in that Patrick Mahomes was positioned to start to be eased into the fray. Mm-hmm. And I think at some point we might see Patrick Mahomes this year when they struggle, and they will struggle. And unfortunately for them, they lost Eric Berry last night. Yeah. So I'm going to stick by my gut before last night, which was I didn't have Kansas City in my AFC playoffs.
Okay, who is the other team of the wild card?
Mm-hmm. Oakland, and here we go. Another team I have a hunch on like I do the Saints, the Cincinnati Bengals. I think they're going to be a wild card team because I think Joe Mixon is going to light it up for them.
I know a doctor that can fix that hunch.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You got a doctor to fix that.
Okay.
Vontez Burfict.
He's gone.
Got an extension.
For 3, yeah.
I guess cutting up does pay.
I guess so. But it's all on the field. It's all it's over aggression, right?
Well, hey, New England redid Tom Brady's contract, gave him that big old money so they would only be the NFL only get $100,000.
Yeah.
So I'm glad they did it. Good job, Mike Brown.
Yep.
Poor Rob Parker. It's just a year off.
I know. I got them. This is their year. What were they last year? They were pretty terrible, like 5.
So the Broncos are winning the division, huh?
Well,
you feel good about that? You don't even believe that.
I don't feel great, but Vaughn convinced me. He said Trevor Siemian reminds him a lot of Peyton Manning.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about you really read every reply you get on Twitter, and you don't want to hear from those Orange fans in Bronco.
Oh, they know it, but I, Skip, now you know I keep it 100. I mean, it's not always. Yeah. But I got to be able to keep my restaurant reservations at Elway.
And your sideline pass.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Okay, we got it.
No mercy. The Giants and Cowboys face each other Sunday night in Dallas, and we're joined now by Super Bowl champion Seth Joiner. Welcome, Seth.
Good morning.
What is your prediction for the game?
You know, Skip, I got to tell you, there's no better words than what that gentleman just said. And the Dallas Cowboys suffer at the hands
you
of the
love
New York Giants.
Music to your eagle-loving ears, right?
Joy, I like the Cowboys in this game because they have they have the full complement of what they need to win. They're going to have Zeke, although it may only be for one game. Probably is only going to be for one game. From what I'm understanding, Odell Beckham is pretty much, not going to be himself in this game, and for a while. And I just think that this is an opportunity for Zeke to come out. We talked about the team rallying around him for this one game, and all the components are there. He looked pretty good in the last preseason game that he played in. He looked pretty good. So I give the nod to the Dallas Cowboys, 21-17.
That was hard for you to say.
Yeah, couldn't you tell? You tell how my throat was swelling? It's almost like I was having an allergic reaction.
This man played for Buddy Ryan in the Philadelphia Eagles, and there was some straight hate going on.
Seth put a bounty out on somebody. Who you had that bounty on, Seth? No, we talk about it later.
I can talk about it now. It don't matter.
Everybody.
Did you get paid?
No, a lot of times the bounties, are for special teams guys.
Right.
Or, it was just, to me, it was just another incentive program.
Yeah.
If you get 100 sacks, you get 100 tackles,
right.
5 interceptions, you get incentive.
Right.
The players just created it's not a bounty, it's just a player incentive program. That's how we looked at it.
Does it count against the salary cap?
There was no cap back then. They wasn't making no money, so.
I don't understand why, because the money didn't come out of the team's pocket. The money came out of the players' pocket.
As I recall, you guys had a bounty on the Cowboy kicker.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
On Zendejas, wasn't
You remember he was with us, and when we were going down to play the Cowboys on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And that week, we cut our kicker, they cut their kicker. So we swapped kickers.
Right.
So we got Roger Ruzick, they got Luis Zendejas. Well, he went down there and started
Talking.
started spilling state's evidence. So I can just remember the first special team meeting, somebody raised their hands like, man, what is going on with Louis? And I got 500 on him. And it just spread like wildfire.
That's not saying that. I'm not saying I'm privy to that kind of stuff, but that kind of how it happens is like 5.
And you're privy to it. Stop it.
And then but we try to like knock somebody out. If you knock him out, I give you $1,000.
Oh, that was big hits.
Yeah.
We had that.
Do you realize that Cowboy team was the equivalent of like an expansion team? Like they had started completely over with Jimmy and Jerry?
Yeah,
so you stooped to have bounties on that team?
Yeah, because that's what you get for talking.
It wasn't the team. It was
Louis.
It was Louis. He just went down there and just started spouting. And I'm like, dude, shut up. You know what's going to happen when you go against us and you start talking like that.
Well,
start spilling state's evidence.
You got even.
Well, he tried to come to our sideline. Somebody got him like halfway and said, you on the other side now.
So, Shannon Sharpe, have you changed your pick? You've had the whole show, and I saw doubt. I saw sweat creep up on your forehead. I saw you start to equivocate in the back of your mind about this game because you know and I know Odell is not going to be exactly right for this game.
Well, I would be really worried if he was going against Richard Sherman or Talib or Patrick Peterson.
But you can't even name the cornerbacks, right?
Is there Everson Walls?
No.
Larry Brown.
How about Orlando Scandrick?
He got to have his hand for B. Marsh.
How about Nolan Carroll, who started 54
How
games
is Nolan
for
Carroll
the Philadelphia
playing?
Eagles?
Listen.
He ain't got no liquor license. He got stopped with no liquor license.
Why you think he's in Dallas?
That calls for a bounty right there.
No, Skip, I'm not changing my mind. I just believe the Giants' defense, they're for real. And they will be better this year than they were last year.
I give you that.
And Snacks, all that talking, Snacks said, y'all stop doing all that talking, bro. I got something for you, Zach. Olivier Vernon got something for you, Tyron Smith. Ooh, and JPP. Whoever that right tackle is, JPP going to have a sack and a half. Better case of doing that.
My guys haven't talked a peep. It's your head coach. Been much ado about nothing.
Well, that's why.
Seriously, my guys didn't say a word.
That's why his play sheet's so big.
Yeah.
Because he got jokes written at the bottom of it. He's like, tell me who the defensive backs are so we'll both know.
That was number 5 on the list.
Skip,
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, Skip. I've never heard a coach say something like that. Normally, they coaches are, especially publicly. Now, we know what they'll say privately. Oh, they be hyping them up in front of the camera, and they get behind the closed door and tell us they're a piece of you-know-what. But for Ben to say that publicly, oh, yeah, he like the rest of the backs. When you bottle them up, ain't nowhere to go.
All backs run the same when there's nowhere to run.
Zeke, McFadden, Morris.
All of them, they look the same. Zeke is McFadden, is Morris, is Rob Smith, they're all the same.
26-19.
So guess who is eligible for this game? Number 21 is eligible. And I think he's going to be eligible the whole year, but we disagree on
How you get to be eligible and you ain't take the final
It
exam?
just doesn't matter because somebody ratted out the commissioner and it's going to court. So here's, I'm going to warn you about this just so you can get ready for it on Sunday night. You're going to see 3 things a lot on Sunday night. You're going to see this. Then you're going to see about 3 times this. And guess what else you're going to see? A new one. You're going to see this. It's going to be Taco Sunday at Jerry World because Taco Charlton, the raw rookie from the University of Michigan, the late first-round pick of the Dallas Cowboys, is going to have him I'll give him a sack and a half on Sunday night. I'll give him having some impact changing the course of this game because he flies off the edge. He's got some of that little slither to him. He knows how to get to the quarterback. And I saw it in the preseason, and I believe I will see it in this game. So get ready for – and he does a little celebration where he makes tacos for his linemen.
What's JPP's celebration?
I don't know. You tell me. They're not my team. They're your team.
No, just get – hey, I don't want him to celebrate. I want him to act like he's going to sack him again on the next play. Because it's going to happen. Olivier Vernon going to get him a sack too.
Yep. So last year, the New York Giants had 2 fluky wins over my Cowboys.
Stop calling them
Well,
fluky.
it was 20-19 against Dak Prescott in his first ever NFL start as a rookie. Really?
But you say he didn't play like a rookie.
Huh. Well, he didn't. He put him in position to win.
Okay.
2 dropped touchdown passes. They should have been up 14-0. They're up 6-0.
He lost like a Vic.
And then up in New York, I believe it was the night of December 11th, it had snowed all day, and it was a slush ball game. And Eli, in his first remark after the game, volunteered, man, I couldn't hold on to the football, and had a mystery interception where the ball went sideways out of his hand. I think used car caught it. He's now, where is he? I don't know where he is.
Well, why didn't he catch Odell before he got into the end zone?
Well, it's because Barry Church, no longer a Cowboy, Jacksonville, took the wrong angle in the slush.
Oh, now he took the wrong angle.
10-7.
Oh,
10-7.
But against Washington, Kirk Cousins got taken to church. Now all of a sudden, church went to the wrong direction.
You know the beauty about Skip. You know, he will make excuses for his beloved Cowboys.
Yeah.
But when you try to make an excuse for your team,
have the courage.
He'll cut it down.
I don't make excuses. I state facts.
They
lost.
Irrefutable
That's
facts.
an excuse.
They lost.
The ball slipped. That's an excuse.
Well, Eli said it slipped. I didn't say it. Dak didn't say it.
What about those 2 interceptions that Dak threw?
A win is a win.
Hey,
Did that count for anything?
Hey, you have called out Des Bryant the entire offseason, and he's going to call you out on Sunday night.
Jackrabbit called him out.
Right, well,
I'm
watch.
just repeating what Jackrabbit said.
Jackrabbit. Good luck.
Well, you know what? At least someone else at this table is keeping it real, Seth.
That's all I do.
Keep it real, all the way 100.
Yep.
Yeah. But he's picking the Cowboys.
What do you got? 21-17. Wow.
Yeah.
Listen to this wisdom here.
Begrudgingly.
Enjoy it, because that might be the only time you see me pick them this year.
So you're saying they're going to go 1-15, or?
I agree with Shannon. They're
No
not,
playoffs?
They're not going to make the playoffs.
We got 2 saying the Cowboys are out of the playoffs. Cowboys watch this show. Thank you.
They're going to give me one of them hats at the end of the season. You know, them Swami hats?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Well, you get the hat, I want a crystal ball.
Seth, thanks for joining us. No mercy. Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. We're back at the same time Monday morning, 9:30 Eastern. Enjoy your weekend, everyone.
Fox Sports 1 of 1.